All right, we're back with another episode of the MMA Lockdown podcast with my co-host Donnie in London. How you doing?
Yeah, doing well, Jazz. What's up?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Weather in Cape Town is a little bit off today, but as I say, we've had some really good weather, so I'll take one bad day and hope for a good day tomorrow.
Yeah, the weather's actually unbelievable in London today, to the point that all the authorities are sort of tweeting, please stay indoors, please respect the rules. Because obviously in London, people have been waiting 6-7 months for like a t-shirt day. Now it comes, and people have got to just sort of bear with it and stay indoors.
But do people still go out to the parks and get outside a little bit, or not really?
Well, definitely more than in South Africa, because you've got the you can exercise once a day rule.
Mm-hmm.
So people can go out, take a walk, take a jog.
All right.
But you know, it's not cool to do that for very long or to do it more than once.
Yeah. So you wouldn't like go to the park now and see a bunch of people there?
No, you can't. You can't. You shouldn't see anyone like sitting around in a park reading a
A
book, having
group.
wine. Definitely not in a group,
Okay.
even by yourself.
So you
Yeah.
can't be in the park by yourself. Is that illegal?
It's illegal unless you like can convince someone that it's exercise. So you could go do yoga in the park, but if you're just
Okay.
sitting around, lying around, you might get away with it, but you shouldn't be doing it technically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm patiently waiting for them to say we can go out for our hour of exercise here. It's been a little bit draining trying to like come up with new routines, but anyway, it challenges the mind. Don, I saw earlier today someone we haven't heard from in a while is a tweet from Cody Garbrandt that he is looking to go down to 125. He was fighting at 135, and I just had a look at his record now, and he had 3 losses in a row, 2 of which were to TJ Dillashaw, and the other one was Pedro Munoz at UFC 235 in March of last year. So he hasn't fought in a while. Going down to 125, maybe he's trying to kind of have a rebirth in his career, some tough losses. I mean, those losses to TJ Dillashaw must have really, really hurt, even though the second loss, potentially the first loss, were under kind of, what's the word, under the pretense that he was already taking some banned substances. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see him fight. I think he has a lot of talent. What are your thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Garbrandt, I always think back to the Dominic Cruz fight, and I just,
Yes.
you know, it wasn't just a win. It wasn't somebody just eking out a close fight against Cruz or even catching him. It was like a complete outclassing of this incredible
Right.
fighter. And when that fight happened, I thought, okay, Cody Garbrandt is going to be like a serious threat for a long, long time.
For
And it's
sure.
almost like he kind of lost his mojo, you know. I think the personal clash with Dillashaw got into his head a bit, and something's been a bit off about him in his mind
Yeah.
since that first fight, you know. And even that first fight, he clips Dillashaw at the end of the round, and the bell might have saved him at the end of the first round.
Yes.
And then Dillashaw knocks him
Yes.
out in the second round, and then does the same thing early on in the fight when they met again. And you just think, you know, about the butterfly effect. And if there are 20 more seconds in that round one when Cody clips TJ, are we talking about Cody as one of the greatest in his division? You know,
Right.
you know, whether going down will change things for him. It might, maybe like a fresh start in the mind. I think he can probably cut the weight. He's quite a small guy. And it's not a hugely competitive weight division, but Henry Cejudo is no joke, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember obviously kind of training with someone and then fighting them is a huge advantage to know a lot of emotion. So, you know, he would start off the fight very technical, doing what the game plan is, but his emotions would kind of take over and he would kind of just going for that haymaker, those big shots. Whereas TJ is such a technical striker. We all know, like, what's it, Bang Ludwig, I forget his first name.
Wayne.
Dwayne, that's it. You know, what a good striking coach he is. So I just feel like if Cody could get his emotions a bit under control, he would be able to perform a lot better. And I feel that's one of the things that didn't get in the way with the Cruz fight. You know, he was more methodical, more technical. There wasn't all that built up drama and tension representing alpha male against the guy that left. So I would definitely like to see Cody back in action. I think he's an exciting fighter. And I also want to see TJ back in action. I think he's a phenomenal fighter too.
Yeah, for sure. And isn't it ironic when you think back to the Ultimate Fighter season where McGregor and Uriah Faber were the coaches, and McGregor had that whole run-in when he was saying to Uriah Faber, you know, Dillashaw is a snake in the grass, you know, and then he had that sort of clash when Dillashaw came to the Tough Center the one day, and it was Cody Garbrandt who got into McGregor's face and was
standing
like,
up for TJ.
exactly, like ready to throw it down for TJ. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that story is, and even, you know, one of the frustrating things about TJ getting caught using PEDs was like, you don't know what was happening in that, in those Cody Garbrandt fights and who was clean and how it was really resolved. And you remember at one of the press conferences between the two of them, Cody was talking about how TJ uses PEDs, and then
he was showing everyone in the team or something.
Yeah, he had that sort of slip of the tongue where he was like, yeah, TJ taught us all to do it. Like who was on them, when they were on them, who knows? I definitely don't believe that TJ's first use of EPO or some sort of PED was
that fight.
What was the fight with Cejudo? No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I think we just we saw earlier that he's coming back January 2021.
Yeah, TJ.
I mean, it's a long layoff for these fighters. I mean, they're obviously training hard still.
It's a long layoff, but if you think about it, like, it's almost an injustice that the Corona time counts towards his penalty time, because, you know, this thing could take 6, 7.
Everyone's banned right now.
Everyone, yeah. So no one can train, no one can fight, and all the while the TJ clock is ticking, and then maybe fights kick off in August, September, and TJ's got a fight set for January by then, and you're kind of like, well, maybe the juice was worth
it, unfair,
you know? Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I guess there's not much you can do about that. No, it's this Corona thing has thrown everything into just like an upside down situation.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see both those fighters come back. I'm not the biggest Henry Cejudo fan. I don't dig his whole shtick that he's got going on with the Triple C and bend the knee and Jose Waldo, and you know, like, I obviously, you know, like other fighters say they respect him as a fighter, and I think he's a good fighter, great fighter, good credentials. I just don't dig his shtick. You know, he doesn't really do it for me. And I guess he's trying to do it to build a bit of attention to his division, you know, because he's seen how other guys have done it. But I don't know, it seems so unnatural. It doesn't seem like that's who he is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the shtick is cringe, which he says it is. But yeah, in terms of his achievements, it's amazing. And I saw, you know, he's obviously like got the same management as Khabib and Kayla Harrison, the judo gold medalist, who's doing so well in MMA now. And I saw a video of them debating who's the greatest combat sports athlete. And it's quite cool because obviously Cejudo is like, you look at my credentials, you know, two-way champion, gold medalist, and Khabib is like, yeah, okay, fair enough. But Kayla basically makes a bet with Henry that before the end of her career, she'll have usurped his credentials because she's undefeated. She's got, I think, two Olympic gold medals, whereas he's got the one. So she's like, if I become a 2-division champion with my 2 medals, like, you know, bend the knee sort of thing.
She's already got him outclassed in the Olympic medals then, so she's on her way.
Yeah, and then you got Khabib kind of saying judo is a tougher Olympic sport than wrestling, which, I mean, who knows? They're both so tough. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch it all unfold. And then just to segue into jiu-jitsu, I was listening to an interview, I don't know, a couple of days ago with Gordon Ryan, and they were asking him, because obviously he won the 99 plus ADC division. I think it was against Buchecha, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I had it somewhere, yeah, against Marcus Almeida, so Buchecha. And so then Andre fought Felipe Pena in the last super fight. He won that, which means that kind of builds for the 2021 super fight to be Galvao and Ryan.
Yeah.
And they were saying to him, like, do you think that Galvao is going to take the fight? And he said basically he thinks it depends on how his performances are from now until then. If he just smashes everyone, just, hot knife through butter, then Galvao is going to be like, he's going to kind of try and maybe retire or whatever. I don't want to say back out of the fight, but that's kind of what Gordon was saying.
Yeah.
Or if his performance, like, Andre sees his performances and thinks, it's not that impressive, I can take this guy, it will happen. I mean, obviously, and like everyone else in the jiu-jitsu community would love to see that fight. Whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, it would be a great fight to see. I mean, I think when I think about that fight, I always think, what impact is the age difference going to make? And how much, let's say Gordon runs through him, and how much will people then say, like, yes, but it's not prime versus prime.
Right.
But yeah, it'd be really interesting because Pena's got those 2 wins against Gordon Ryan. And you can't really necessarily do jiu-jitsu math the same way you can't do MMA math. Like, it's not going to be as simple as Galvao best Pena and Pena best Ryan.
Yes.
I think Gordon Ryan 2020 is very different to Gordon Ryan probably even 2019, but certainly 2017. But it was very interesting.
Definitely.
I was watching back those fights with Pena, and you're seeing him in both fights where he beat Ryan, sort of taking Ryan's back off Ryan's like sankaku. So you're seeing him like twist his foot, sort of shift his weight, and use that to get to the back. And it might be that he's just got Ryan's number on that particular sort of position. That doesn't mean anyone else is going to have that. So that's sort of what I'm saying about the MMA math doesn't always compute.
100%.
So yeah, I'd love to see it happen though.
Yeah, and what's so impressive about that whole squad at Henzo is there's just, and I guess also in other academies, is how quick these guys are improving. I mean, you've got his brother Nicky, who's just phenomenal. You've seen this guy Nicky Rod. I mean, he's been doing jiu-jitsu for like maybe now, I don't know, a year and a half, and he kind of got second in his division, won the trials for ADCC, even though he's got a pretty decent wrestling background. I mean, it's just phenomenal. You think about, okay, we're not training full time, but I mean, we've been training, anywhere from 2 to 5 years, and these guys are training full time, granted, but the level of improvement is just so huge. It's wow, it's impressive.
I mean, what I really want to see ultimately is Gordon Ryan move into MMA, which he has at times said is the long-term plan. I mean, he's still young.
Yeah.
John Dana has also spoken about it. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it. They say he's working on his stand-up, he's working on his striking. So I don't know when that happens, but I do hope it happens.
We've seen his close friend and training partner / coach, Gary Tonin, transition into MMA very well. I think he's undefeated.
Yeah.
So he can obviously give him a lot of good insight, and yeah, I'd love to see him make that move. But I think he's still got a few things he wants to do in jiu-jitsu, even though he kind of semi-retired, but now he's back out of retirement. It seems like the thing to do these days. Create some media hype. So that's exciting. Anything else you've seen over the since we last spoke? Anything else worthwhile discussing?
No, I mean, not really. There's still no word on where we're going with UFC. Dana White seems to have his own sort of issues to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, they're really running out of stuff to talk about now. They've dragged Dana into the media.
Yeah. So I think we'll wait and see what happens. Just keep our minds occupied with jiu-jitsu videos and
yeah, for sure. Don, just before we wrap up, I saw someone ask a cool question. It was obviously with COVID happening in quarantine. If you had to be quarantined with either UFC fighter, jiu-jitsu guy, anyone in the martial arts world currently, who would you pick?
I think like the person I always want to like could imagine myself sort of hanging out with is DJ,
Mhm.
Beatrice Johnson, just because there'd be a lot of video games. I think he's the kind of guy who just can, hold a conversation across like a wide range of topics. Really smart, intelligent guy. Maybe like Nate Diaz, just because there's going to be like an endless supply of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Good goals, good instructor to have if you want to focus on your jets.
Right.
Yeah, other than that, I don't know. There's a lot of cool guys like out there, but a lot of guys who are maybe a bit much. I have been very, very impressed with Michael Bisping's approach on his podcast and on his Twitter to like people who are like coming with the COVID conspiracies and this is authoritarianism and like the government is just trying to control us. And Bisping,
Right.
like, you like idiots have to look at like the data, like it's not a conspiracy.
Right.
I've really appreciated that, and I've always thought he's a cool guy. But I'm gonna stick with DJ.
All right, nice. Yeah, DJ is a good one. It's a tough question. I was also, there's so many cool guys in the UFC, in the martial arts world.
Yeah,
I guess one of the first people that popped to mind is just because he's an exciting guy. He seems like a lot of fun to hang out, and also probably an endless supply of marijuana was Sean O'Malley.
yeah, sure.
He just looks also just like a lot of fun, kind of always, joking around. Also to train with, he seems, that stand-up style and a lot of, maybe someone like Habib just to be around him, such a different character, how many undefeated guys are there that come from the mountains of Dagestan.
Yeah.
Definitely would be a different experience between him and O'Malley. But yeah, lots of guys, but O'Malley for this podcast would be my pick.
Sweet. O'Malley and DJ, yeah, sure.
Yeah, good times. All right, Don. Good chatting. We'll keep the podcast rolling. See what comes up in the news, and hopefully, just before we end off a few days on now, like, what's your gut feeling? Is 249 going to happen, or is it just kind of you feel like it's slipping away now?
Yeah, my gut feeling is they don't have a venue secured for sure. Otherwise, it would have been announced. And yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. And the more I think about it, the more I think it shouldn't. I mean, I was watching some of WrestleMania earlier. You're having this massive event, okay? Like wrestling's a different story to fighting,
Right.
but you're having this like massive event that is such a meaningful thing that people are usually so excited about, and you're having it with nobody there, and it's just you kind of watching it thinking like, what the hell? So I think the more I think about it, the more I feel that watching Khabib and Tony fight in those conditions, I'd rather watch it in August or September in more normal conditions. And definitely, if it's not going to be those two, just call it.
Yeah, no. I'm in total agreement with you on that one, on both points. Awesome, Don. Thanks for the chat. As always, good fun, and we'll catch you for episode 7.
Sweet jazz. Thanks, man.
All right, Don.